Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things. Wild Geese by Mary Oliver. Okay, so what is Mary Oliver telling us? The world's chaos, right? We know that. Anybody who looks at the news right now, you're going, oh my gosh, there's so much going on, and it's very easy to get distracted. It's easy to get distracted by the trends that are around at any given moment. A long time ago, about 150 years ago, they were the industrialization, well, even before that, British industrialization started forming ideas about schooling, and then the American industrialization formed more ideas about schooling. And when industrialization was happening in this country, people started to look at the model of factories, and they noticed the efficiency of that. And right, not much longer after that, universal public education came into the fray. And people started to look at it and said, hey, these factories are working really well. Let's do that with children, and we can be efficient and make sure everyone is getting a standard model of education. Okay, that has its pluses and its minuses, and a lot of schools around the country, public and private, this day operate on that notion. Big scale, lots of efficiency, lots of offerings, but it echoes that factory experience. Because the other thing with the factories, I'm going to set this down, is things get lost in the mix. Right? Things fall through the cracks. Things aren't up to, they don't pass inspection, so to speak. Okay, we're Vermonters. Vermonters look at things and say, I wonder, can't we do that a little bit better? Can't we figure out our own local way of doing something that might just be a better way? Is scale, is size always the best? If we decide that we're going to put all of our energy, and this is the big thing here, right, in Vermont, we think about town meeting day, all of our community's energy, our local network of people we trust and rely on every single day. If we leverage that energy to something, can't we do it just a little bit better? Won't our food be a little better for us and taste a little better if we get it from somebody around the corner where we saw their chickens wandering through the fields before we ate their eggs? Can't we come up with an idea for a way, I'm thinking about seventh generation, like taking care of cleaning things, taking care of our cleaning up after ourselves. We do it just a little more carefully, a little more nurturing of our environment. Can't we do something a little bit better? I mean, there are lots of these ideas of local, community-based hacking of something to try to just do it a little more appropriately with a better result. Okay, that's this place. This school was founded 23 years ago under that premise. Do we want to accept everything going on, all those trends in education? One of the biggest trends was big. We're going to have schools that essentially operate like small colleges and universities. They're going to have 1 million offerings. You're going to have every single opportunity you can possibly imagine. But there's a certain little expense that comes with, which is, are you known? Do you know people? Do they know you? Do they know what you really are needing or wanting? Have they been able to connect with you? Have they been able to support you? Do you have that sense of camaraderie where when you get together with people and you really know them and they know you well, you can do and achieve anything? And that's one of the things that you have to exchange. Now, for some people, they need what comes with that scale. Like, what is the best thing for that child? They need varsity lacrosse, for example. We're never going to be able to do varsity lacrosse because we've chosen a slightly different priority. We've chosen learning, varsity academics. That's what we do here. But to do that, we feel that that is best done small, where no one is going to let you fail. No one's going to let you slip through the cracks. It's not that anyone's going to do the work for you. Mark Keegan, is Keegan here? He's not here. He's a biochemist, PhD from Cornell, worked in the industry for 10 years. He teaches chemistry and physics. He's not going to do the work for you, but he's also not going to let you not learn because he knows you. Because in between teaching you chemistry and physics, he was out with you a week and a half ago in the pouring rain with all of the ninth graders cycling the entire way around Lake Champlain during one of our encounter weeks. Right? So 3 times a year we close down school for a week, and everyone goes and does experiential education trips, from service trips to New Orleans, rebuilding homes, to biking all the way around Lake Champlain, to backpacking in the Adirondacks, to our sister school in Lima, Peru. 3 times a year we do that, all of us. And every single time when the students are getting dirty and trying to light a fire in the pouring rain, Christy doing that in the White Mountains last week. And I mean, you remember last week how pouring it was, how cold it was? You know, when you're sitting there under a tarp trying to light the fire, who's right there next to you? Christy. Who's just as grungy as you are, Christy. You get that experience. As soon as she got back. You've done that experience together so that when you sit down in her classroom on Monday morning, you look across at each other and you have shared an understanding of being a full person. You shared having to acquire grit. You shared that collaboration. So what does that look like when you get into a discussion about Great Gatsby? A lot of those walls that are unnaturally fabricated between adults and children by bigger systems, they're gone. They're just gone. So size. Size matters in terms of the ability to engage. And that's what we do. It's all about priorities. If you are a person who you go, actually, varsity lacrosse is important to me, and an enormous social group is important to me, yeah, that's not what we're trying to do here. We're not going to compete with a large place that's the priority. If priority for you is learning, and this is the key, maybe I'll end on this. If the priority for you is actually being in a community of learners where everyone looks around at each other and you're all here for the same reason, because you actually want to know. You want to learn, you're excited about learning things, you're excited about growing, and you want to be around other people who are like that. That's this place. So I'm not saying that people just do nothing but hit the books all the time. It's not that. It's just, you don't have to question it. Like, yeah, of course, Christy assigns paper. Yeah, of course I'm going to do paper. I might challenge it, like, I don't like that topic, Christy, or can I do it a different way, or can we debate back and forth, and Christy's going to engage you on that. But you're never going to be in a classroom full of people who are going, what does Christy know? Why would she do? Like, there's an inherent trust in the faculty, and there's an inherent trust in the student, and it's an environment where everybody loves the notion of living in the mind and working with the hands to make the world a better place through a small community. So that's Vermont Common School. It's a whole lot of fun along the way. It's a blast, because think about it, if you're not worried about being that smart kid who, when you raise your hand and you try to offer something, people are looking at you like, why are you contributing? If you're not worried about that, because nobody makes fun of you for trying, for being smart, for being interested in learning, if that's appealing, what you find is that pressure's off. You can just enjoy. You can enjoy learning. You can enjoy all the activities that go with that. You can enjoy community, friendship, challenge, rigor, and it becomes a great place for comedy, a great place for joy, and a great place for growing as a whole person. So, that's enough from me, but welcome to Vermont Common School. What I encourage is you actually talk to the students. They're going to give you the best insight on what it's actually like to be here. Talk to the parents. They're going to tell you the ups and downs, the challenges, the opportunities, how that works. Talk to the faculty who have been here for many of them, coming up on 2 decades. No sign of going anywhere else. That's the same for all of us who work here. We love being here. We want to tell you the story. So without further ado, I'll pass it back over to Jill. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. So we are going to have a parent talk to you for a few minutes. Sharon? Oh, so weird. This is Sharon. I'm sure she will tell you, but she has 2 amazing students at Vermont Common School. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. I have more notes than Dexter does because I'm not used to getting up and lecturing in front of people. Not that I'm going to lecture you. Anyway, my name's Sharon. I have 2 kids here. Zoe is a 9th grader and Toby's a 7th grader. Zoe started with the very first 6th grade class 3 years ago, so we've been on the scene for a little while. If you have more than one child, or even if you don't, you know that differences between siblings, whether they're biological or not, can be really striking. One is a great sleeper, one keeps you up all night, one eats everything under the sun, the other one only eats foods that start with the letter R. Not saying that, not pointing any fingers. But I always say that having more than one kid is a really great cure for ever thinking, oh man, I have got this parenting thing nailed. And those differences don't end at the schoolhouse door. Zoe and Toby both went to public school through 5th grade. Then we made the switch to Vermont Commons with Zoe. Toby followed 2 years later. And when we talk to people about our kids and our choices, the question always comes up, why did you make the decision to switch? And by the way, if you're contemplating a school change, you should get used to answering that question. Our short answer, 3 years later, is usually some variation of, well, it's just the best fit for us. But since you asked, and since I have your attention, I'm going to dig a little deeper. It's the best fit for Zoe and for kids like her, because it's a place where her passion for social justice is nurtured and incorporated into the curriculum. The teachers engage her, and they take her and every student here seriously. When Zoe spoke at a rally on the State House steps early on a weekday morning last winter, the school didn't penalize her for being absent. Instead, a teacher commandeered one of the BCS buses and brought a pack of students to Montpelier for the rally. When Zoe wanted to establish an LGBT book collection for the school, her advisor hosted a rainbow bookshelf painting party. And during times when she has been confused and overwhelmed, because believe me, there have been those times, every person in this school has made it absolutely clear that they are here to help her and her peers succeed. Case in point, and I'm going to talk about the 9th grade bike trip. So it's not the only thing that they do, although you're going to come away from this feeling like that is the case. So last week, she and her classmates went through the rite of passage known as the 9th grade bike trip. Somehow, don't ask me how, every year, intrepid teachers lead the 9th grade class on this massive bike trip around Lake Champlain. They bike 30 to 60 miles each day for 5 days. And every year, somehow, all of those kids get around the lake. It's a tough start to 9th grade, but it's also a perfect metaphor for the school. The kids work really, really hard with the support of people who have the skills and the knowledge and the experience to show them the way. There's help, there's support, there is a lot of encouragement, but ultimately, the kids make it around the lake under their own power. And they began their freshman years with the knowledge that they already have more strength and endurance than they know. And Vermont Commons is the best fit for Toby and for kids like him because it's a place where he is truly seen 100%. After 5 years of falling through the cracks in public school, he finally got a definitive diagnosis of moderate dyslexia, which we had suspected for some time. And up until that point, we had sat through a lot of parent-teacher conferences with we were getting puzzled looks from teachers when we brought up our concerns because he was, quote, meeting the standard for his grade. Probably a lot of you are familiar with that term. For his part, for Toby's part, he was coming home from school day after day, hating school and feeling stupid. That was his word, over and over. At Vermont Commons, he's learned to see himself through new eyes, and he's blossomed with the support of his teachers and a really superb school counselor and tutor. And he may never memorize his multiplication tables, and spell check will always be his very best friend. But he's finally in a place where it's understood that the ability to spell and do math facts quickly are not measures of intelligence or worth. Here, the focus is on skills that truly serve people as they grow into adulthood: critical thinking, problem solving, cultivating compassion and leadership. On a side note, we were in the car one day last summer shortly after school ended. We were heading somewhere that was kind of in the direction of school, and Toby sort of snapped out of a reverie, and he was like, oh, for a minute there, I thought we were driving to school. And then he said, actually, you know, if we were going to school, that would be okay. I'm kind of sad the year is over. And believe me when I tell you that that phrase had never been uttered by that child before. So just as each of our kids is different, the reasons for sending them here are unique to them. And some of those reasons might resonate with you and some might not. And honestly, no one school is the right fit for every single kid. Vermont Commons is a demanding place. You're not going to find your child doing loads of busy work, thank God. But you will find that their teachers ask them to go deeper. They ask them to reflect more. They refuse to let them sit in the back of the room or just get by. They also ask the kids bike around the lake, literally and figuratively. And they demand that the kids step up and be responsible and find their places and their voices in the world. And the truth is that not every child wants to bike around that metaphorical lake, and that's okay. So let me just close by saying, before everyone around you starts asking you why you're making the choice to send your child here, ask yourself and your child first and make sure that you like the answers that you get. Because if your child comes to Vermont Commons, they'll be working hard in more ways than you can imagine, but they'll also grow in more ways than you or they can imagine. Thank you.
And now we have Matt, one of our students. He's the senior, and actually, he's probably going to mention it. He's been on the bike trip multiple times. After 9th grade, he wanted to be a student leader, so he does it by choice. And it's really fun, right, Matt?
Yeah, I love it. Thank you. My name is Matt Furch. I'm the student body president here. And I wanted to speak to you guys about Vermont Commons because I love it so much. I first came here in 7th grade, and as soon as I got here, from the first few weeks, I realized it is a place where it's cool to be smart and it's cool to care about learning, which was a really great change for me. And since I've been here, I've been surrounded by classmates and teachers who really love what we're doing and love the material we're learning. I feel like I can really grow in the way that I want to. And you're friends with teachers here too. So in a classroom, if I have a question about kind of related to what we're learning about, but not necessarily, the curriculum is there, but we really change the class based on what the students' questions are. And then that carries over to outside of class too. I know Mark Lucy, he's in the back somewhere. Maybe it's not. I saw him earlier. Him and I talk about economics, not in class, loosely related to what we're doing, but it might be last semester's class we're talking about. Sometimes we're just joking about life or getting music recommendations from each other, because the teachers really are your friends here. He is the advisor, I guess, for the sound system. I took that over a couple years ago because I'm passionate about it and I wanted to do the lighting there, mics, and laptop audio. So if at VCS you can really just take over anything you want to do, make a club out of it, and project what your passion is to everyone. We have a lot of clubs like Student Government, Minecraft Club, German Club, Amnesty International, Glowing Turtles. You can start anything you want, which I just can't emphasize how important that is, because necessarily decide what we learn. There are these vaults of information that you can just go to questions, and they'll tell you everything about your question, plus another 10 things to maybe lead you in another direction, so you can really take initiative for your learning and direct it where you want to go. I guess going back to the relationships with teachers and being friends, the encounter weeks really do contribute to that. I don't want to talk too much about the bike trip because the past two speakers have, but I really loved that when I did it, so I decided I wanted to student lead it, and since then, I did in 9th grade, in 10th, 11th, and 12th, I went with the 9th graders as a student leader, which just seemed fun to me because I like biking. And then, as I was applying for colleges recently, all the schools were saying, we love to see leadership opportunities that students take in high school. That sounded, okay, that's normal. And then they said, but we understand most of you guys probably don't have opportunities. And that sounded crazy to me, because at VCS, everything you want to do, there's a leadership opportunity for it. Whether it's teaching newer students how to use the sound system, or just starting your own club because you care about it, or leading bike trips. Leadership is encouraged so much here. It seems like the norm. But I guess that's not a normal thing for high school, which is one of the reasons VCS is so special. Yeah, I think that's all I have.
Thank you so much. That was awesome. So really it's your turn now to ask questions. As you've heard from everyone, we are a community of lifelong learners, caring community members, and conscientious